So, the legalization of heroin. Yeah, surely this is the sort of topic that someone would immediately turn around to you and say, "Oh, well, you're mad. Obviously, that's a terrible idea. That's like probably the most dangerous idea that anyone's ever come up with. You'll lead to ruinous conditions in society for everyone, and we obviously shouldn't legalize heroin, nor should we legalize opium and morphine because those are among the most dangerous drugs, right? Well, so to go into a little bit of the history of heroin, heroin's real name, its sort of pharmacological appellation is diacetylmorphine, and this is something that's used routinely in medicine, in contemporary Western medicine, for anesthesia. Morphine, likewise, is a slightly older compound, also an opium derivative, and it's used as an anesthetic in surgery. So these drugs, in spite of the fact that they're illegal street derivatives or the compounds that flood the black market for drugs currently, while those are of course very, very dangerous, we should be working harder to, in the first instance, make heroin legal, since it would obliterate the black market for heroin. That's one of the major reasons to do it. Since heroin, street smack, if you like, which isn't real heroin. It's not the sort of heroin you get in a hospital. That's full of, for instance, very complex opioids which take a long time to break down in the system because it hasn't been synthesized properly by, real chemists or real pharmacologists who know what they're doing in the process of synthesizing heroin diacetylmorphine. And it's actually for this reason, because these complex opiates take a long time to break down. This is the reason why, firstly, it's so damaging, why it clogs arteries and so on, why it builds up in the system and causes all sorts of horrible health issues. And that's also the reason why it's so addictive as well. And this is actually the same reason why cocaine is addictive, or the sort of cocaine that you buy from a drug dealer on the black market. It's actually because of the impurities in these illegal compounds that makes them addictive. And if we look at the data from, say, Portugal, where drugs have been decriminalised, heroin's been decriminalised, rates of use do not actually go up when you decriminalise drugs. They go down. And they decriminalised heroin, and they started putting more money, instead of into policing, which was going absolutely nowhere in terms of being able to combat Portugal's drug problems. It was funding all that policing money into drug rehabilitation services, and heroin addicts were coming off heroin, and it was making things far better. Changed their country very rapidly, overnight almost. But this isn't the major reason why we should legalise / decriminalise heroin, morphine, and opium. The major reason we should do this is because only 6% of the world's morphine is consumed in the developing world, whereas the developing world is home to about 80% of the world's population. So the fact of heroin, morphine, so on, and opium being illegal, being controlled substances, effectively prices the third world, or the developing world, I should say, out of the market for these drugs to be used in medicine. So this is obviously very, very important. It's criminally unfair. This is something we could be employing on a mass scale to fight health problems in the developing world. And the reason why it's illegal to begin with is because pharmaceutical companies, I suspect, wish to ring fence the markets for heroin and morphine so that they can maximise profits. And they have no interest in liberalising the market globally and having loads more people in loads of other countries farming opium, and hence having the prices of these commodities come down. Because if you produce more of something via supply and demand, the price of the commodity goes down. So this is really one of, I think, the most important reasons for legalising drugs. And yes, legalising heroin and selling it to, if people want to buy it, yeah, you can buy it if you're over 18, say. And you do so at your own risk. Have you getting a chemically pure product which is far less likely to be addictive, far safer, and due to its legal status and the lack of mystique that it has, possibly, and the fact that it's not being pushed upon people by dodgy types working in the black market, I suspect that the amount of people actually getting addicted to heroin and dying from it, even though it is legal, would be legal, would go down substantially. And it would be far better for the whole society, for everyone, really. And there's an agricultural point to make on this subject also, because opium poppies they grow practically anywhere. They grow in the United Kingdom, they grow in the deserts of Afghanistan, famously, you know. They grow in Turkey, in the relatively arid conditions in Turkey. But, you know, thinking like Saharan African countries, Chad, Niger, you know, these countries could perhaps do with a bit of opium farming, possibly, to help their economies. No? And 80% of the world's population also. I don't think pharmaceutical companies in the West and drug regulators in the West really have thought through the potential here. You know, the developing world is developing. It's not necessarily stuck in a complete rut where it seems like these places will be doomed forever. You know, bring up these countries, allow them medicine, you know, and we start seeing they'll become more prosperous. People become richer, and that helps, doesn't it? Because having rich people in a society, money, right? Got modern medicine, have doctors, more education, nurses, more education, doctors and nurses, professionals with more money. So healthcare industries, they'll be buying there'll be a large amount of opiate derivatives on the market, diacetylmorphine and morphine, and you have more customers, even though they won't be spending so much money on it, possibly. So I don't see how this is a lose-lose situation, but it is frankly this paranoia over illegal substances and over heroin and morphine and cannabis and mushrooms and everything else. And you know, just as a side note, cannabis always gets the accused of being a drug that causes paranoia, supposedly. In my experience, by far the most paranoid people in society are the types who say, I've never done a drug in my life. And they're paranoid, so far as drugs are concerned, because they don't know anything about them, really. And they haven't taken any. So, there's that. Yes, so legalise heroin to help people in the developing world and ultimately probably make more money, if anything, for our economies. And it'll be a great, great, fantastic thing. So, yes. Thank you everyone for watching. Bye-bye. I love you lots.